was looking at my checklist of the area, realized hadn't had Ambrosia dumosa yet, even though it's quite common in southwest portions of the study area. So overlook things sometimes. So back in the Mojave for one more day. Started this morning. Took a prolonged nap after quite an intense drive yesterday, and really thankful for the cool, cloudy day. It's only 86 degrees here right now. It could easily be 96 or even 106 right here in this particular spot at this particular time of year, middle June. And already found quite a few interesting things just a few miles north, but I'm gonna make my way back northwards here, check out some canyons of the study area, and then take you on some traverses, which I'm really looking forward to. Nearly a year after substantial surgery, the only surgery I've ever been through in my life. It's still an ongoing recovery in some senses. I'm not sure if I could climb with my arms, for example, quite yet. And lifting things, and there's all kinds of problems still. See a issue of strength at this point. But I'm getting better. I'm getting ready for traverses. Just gonna collect some things here for a few days first. Check out the high country, because the heat is coming here. Later this week, probably even tomorrow, it's gonna be significantly warmer and sunnier. I say probably, because this is a dead zone. I can't look things up here. I promise you. There's no cellular service in this valley at all. Lots of animal spurst or stickly taxa, to be more specific here. Burr sages. Those in your shoe, they're not pleasant. Those cromarias keep sticking at me very readily. Loasaceae here, that quite stickly, of course. And there was even a brand new annual eriogonum that looks like the perennial Irmanii, just a mounding, almost thorny thing of particularly limestones across various elevations. This was an annual version of that plant, which I've never seen anywhere before, and not seeing now for that matter. One population seen. Was robust though. Have to show you that one if I run into it again. So excited to see it, but it was quite stickily, especially for an eriogonum. Here's the third population of yucca Harrimanii, I think it's called, I've discovered in this mountain range. Quite uncommon. Trains are coming in. Didn't really capture it, but it's become quite a wet day. The whole ground is sopping wet. Multiple storms have come through. Quite loud boomers, oftentimes. Each time I have to take shelter under a juniper because no rain gear, of course. Highly, highly unusual in my experience to have any rain here whatsoever in this region in June, especially as a continuation of spring precipitation. I can imagine early monsoons starting to develop some years towards middle June, but that'd be uncommon in Nevada. Possible though. But no, this is a continuation of the wet spring still, of course. With some dry days here and there. But mostly, at least partly cloudy days. Past couple months it seemed like. Past all year it seemed like. I can only gauge via forecasts and rumors and such from afar. Anecdotes. Hearsay. And crickets and birds are very alive. All this precip. All very active and loud throughout this canyon I'm now ascending. I'm below 5,000 feet and wearing a puffy jacket. That's ridiculous for June. These elevations. Beautiful canyon system here. Getting to know. All the canyons of this entire mountain range are quite scenic, I'm discovering. Almost all. I think of a couple more drab ones on the southwest edge, but that's a deeper, drier desert. And the more subtle part of the range. Came upon this in a wild, remote wilderness canyon. Seems to be sheltering a massive cave over there. Let's go check it out. How about this? Very rarely run into caves so big. Must have been road accessible at a point. May still be a special hangout for locals, I'd imagine. There's some ranches down canyon, not too far off. Incredible. I've never run into anything this big randomly. Off the beaten path, that is. But not unknown. Popular spot in the 70s and 80s. That looks like 47 though. Some yellow morphs. Common Aquilegia formosa group. Someone's collected these elsewhere in the area before and called them a different species. Now it's clear that they're yellow mutants. See how they're still darker at the tips of the spurs there? To the point where they're still, it's hard to see in the newly coming sunlight, to the point where they are still reddish. It's the same species. This canyon is the lushest and wettest in the study area. Smaller tadpoles there. It's pretty darn wet throughout, pretty big trees throughout. Dramatic rock formations. Look at the overhang of the creek itself ahead there. Something new around every corner. It's rugged and wet through the willows and others sometimes. Not really sometimes, more like frequently. More like oftentimes. It has commenced raining for something like the 8th time today. These later ones have been a lot less heavy than the earlier ones, but nonetheless, the rain continues to come back on and on. Found a second population Oenothera elata here. Really, really tall plants at maturity. Those are last year's capsules. Very bright, showy yellow flowers on these things. Just getting their start to life this year. It's wet understory, the seepage. Indeed, I think it dries out a little bit ahead. No more named springs ahead, at least, beyond here. I know I've seen orchids in this general area before, and it's the kinds of things I want to find the next couple days. This would be promising orchid habitat, but nothing yet, as well as some of the other seepages I've run into. Yeah, at this northern edge of the study area, it's quite a bit lusher and wetter overall. We are closer to the Great Basin in Utah in some ways. And north faces, the northern hemisphere, should be expected to be wetter and cooler overall, particularly as an artifact of sun levels during the winter months. Yeah, don't get towering ashes, which is what a lot of this stuff is. The southern edge, the more Mojave side of the study area. It's a northern thing. Oddly, not really cottonwoods in this drainage. That is tall ashes, old growth ash. There's their Fritz, of course. Nice place. Canyon's drying up and opening out, which gives me some relief from being wet, especially with a few plunges with my feet. Now we're part of that canyon. Just noticed the oddest ponderosa though. Look at that thing. The top has been shorn off by whatever forces. And that one arm continues to thrive. The top. And there's a lower one, of course. Still wet here, the vegetation, so I'm not drying out yet, but looks like I'm about to hit the sunshine, which I thought was completely out of the question today. Between the continuous storms and the depth of the canyon combined with the lateness of the hour as well. Nope, the canyon as it's opening up is becoming much more shallow. There's that sunshine. There's some hope for drying out after all today. Just ran into one of the stranger things I've encountered in this place. Let's look at it. There's a random elm here. Excuse me, there are two random elms here. Quite a distance from civilization, other populations. And there it's spreading by suckers. There's a third one coming up. I'm presuming it's Ulmus pumila. No fruits, though. This is pretty sweet, serendipitously, right before sunset, for the first time. Run into scutellarias in this region. My goodness gracious. Need to revisit those. I basically worked on them before. Need to collect as many as possible to work on them better, though, for the flora. I don't have an epithet off the top of my head for you. Nana group, I guess. Look at this abundant little patch of them. Wouldn't have even noticed them half hour from now. I tend to walk into the dusk without a headlamp so often. Beautiful little scullies. Believe it or not, this is morning. Those storms from yesterday are continuing into what I thought I had seen was supposed to be a sunny day. Maybe it's tomorrow. Continuing up this exciting canyon from yesterday, traverse across the plateau lands up there, find some new seeps and canyons. I want to find the orchids again. Platantheras. See them at one spot only. Huge patch of Iva axillaris. Some people call it poverty weed, I believe. Asteraceae. Those are axillary heads. Ambrosia-like heads. And those axils. Nice specific epithet. Patch of roses. This is one of the more interesting canyons I've been in, between the freaking skullcaps and now Iva all of a sudden. I've only seen this at a ranch in this area before. And the scenery, and the beautiful old growth ponderosa, etc. Never seen the mosses so alive here in the study area, high up like this. I know they must be green more in the early spring and winter, the cold time of year when there's no flowers. But during the flowering time of year, mosses are usually dried out to heck, if I can be so candid. Anomalous group of Salvia doryis up here as well. Usually don't see them quite this high up, close to 6,000 feet. North-facing exposures with tons of mosses, that's pretty weird too, huh? That's where we're all headed, my friends. This beautiful forest, reluctant to leave it for this cheatgrass infested wasteland. Some rabbit brushes and quercus returning. I don't think there's long exposed stretches here, but the thunder and lightning was really intense yesterday. It's raining right now. Not hearing boomers. No rain jacket. I'm gonna hang tight and have my first snack of the day for now. Some horses hanging out in the openings over there. The horses have lost their fear of me over time, I would say. Or maybe the earlier encounters were just more surprised, more close encounters within canyon bottoms and such. More recently, they've been able to see me in advance. But, caught there. There they be, 3. 2 browns, 1 white. They're curious, they're not really afraid. They're interested. As are we. They live good lives out here. It's a good place to be a horse. Except for when the BLM calls them from time to time, then that's not such a great time. Somewhat rare phenomenon, and it's a bit artificial in the sense that we're in a clear cut after a burn here. We have super blooms in the PJ zone. Some of the P's and J's start to come back. Herbs are developing quite well here. Incredible dahlias. 2 different species, a much more common purple in there. Purpurea, I believe. And this new pink one I just encountered here. Much larger flowers. Wouldn't be surprised if it's new to the mountain range. Soralsias, linums, and geophytums. This looks like a Drimocalis to me, but a little bit stumped by this rosaceous thing. It's gotta be a Drimo, just looking interesting, and a different one than I've found here before, perhaps. Doesn't look like one of the canyons higher up there. Eriogonums are all in fruit. Annual lupins. Lots of geophytum there. It's nice to see there's not a lot of overtaking of weeds here after such disturbances. Definitely been cut after the fact here. Someone's removed all the wood here for sure. It's way too nice. Look at that, the piles. And that happened because the burns that frequent this area in drier years. Cactus. The dahlia is exciting to me because it's new. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I've never encountered it in the field before. Glad I came up here. Not sure I was gonna find much on this trip today. It's just beautiful to look at no matter what. If I've only found just 2 new species to collect up here so far. 2 lower down today. One more familiar thing in between. It's still wet from yesterday. I don't believe it rained here today. It didn't rain on me today, really. Sheltered for a brief moment, not enough to wetten things in terms of the greater environment. Fraseras, beautiful. Gotta get going because it's practically dark, but just ran into this luscious moss wall. Pretty rare to run into towering walls like that. Used to work with a guy who's pretty decent expert of them, and usually just see them when they're brown though when I do run into them. Terrain's rocky here, gotta get back to concentrating. More Holodiscus run into for the 3rd time now this season, and never before on this mountain range. Wonder what else might be ahead. I better keep my ass moving here. Even more bizarre, I ran into snow just now. At 5,500 feet in the Mojave Desert, guys. That's pretty insane. Hasn't snowed here in this particular spot in a good 2 months, I would venture to say. At least a month and a half. No part of May, I would say. Incredible. Must have piled up deep in this little narrow. So there's quite a streak of it, and it's not new. It is not new. One of the luscious springs in these quarters comes right out of the sheer rock here. It's a double spring. There's two of them coming right out of the rock and converging together. This is where the orchids are. I've seen the bigger orchids I found before. Still looking for the smaller ponderosa, which I know I've seen before. I think they were, just not ready at the time in some sense. Some stachys. Just found lots of things, including poison hemlock here, new to the list. Big showy mimulus out there. You can probably see it at this distance. 1 to 2 meters tall mimulus out there. Urticas solidagos. It's true wetlands here. One of the only areas. It's hard to botanize because of the urticas, though. They are those tallest and therefore most ferocious things here. By far. And that is the amazing spot where that large spring emanates. Brilliant sea of monkey flowers. For most years, probably not too much to write home about. Standing water and ducks this year. Though the creek just to my right is itself is dry right now. Relocated the orchids. It's at the smaller spring in these parts, which harbors a completely different flora somehow. My anthemums there, all sterile right now for some reason. That's weird. Looks like they're trying to go to fruit, perhaps. But here's my bog orchids. No wonder I didn't find them along the rushing streams back there. This is the genus Oenothera. Common at higher elevations back home in Colorado. Exceptionally unique in this region. Nice place, nice grotto, nice sheltered grove in the desert. At least 5 degrees cooler within here.